Welcome back to Fast Market on the TD Ameritrade Network. I'm Tom White, and I'm joined by my co-host Kevin Hinks. But let's bring in our next guest, and that's going to be Harrison Sweeney, a research analyst at LikeFolio.com. Thanks for joining us, Harrison.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we're looking at the airlines once again. United Airlines reports earnings after the close. Stock's down a couple percent here ahead of time. As far as data goes, Harrison, we've seen the TSA numbers are starting to improve. Bookings heading into the Q4 starting to improve. Still below 2019 levels, but this industry seems to be getting back on its feet. The Delta variant concerns are getting pushed aside a little bit after a rough patch there in late August and early September. What kind of data are you seeing from LikeFolio on United Airlines?
So we are seeing a significant increase in demand relative to those 2019 numbers, still far below there, but year over year, they're improving well. The current issue is we're seeing a large influx of consumer buzz, and a lot of this is a side effect of controversy that has been swirling around the industry. You may have heard Southwest and American Airlines in the news in recent weeks. And United specifically has done a very good job of avoiding that controversy. And we're seeing them lead in terms of consumer happiness in recent months. The demand there, you see, has had a very sharp increase in the past quarter, I would say. And that we're seeing that across all of the airlines, but for United and Delta, both of which you can see there on the chart are leading in terms of happiness. That's a lot more, we're more confident in the bullish call that we're getting from that demand increase. And that's because we know that there's a smaller amount of consumer unrest underlying that demand increase. And United specifically, they really headed off this vaccination mandate controversy that we've seen unfold, and that was because they were the first airline to mandate COVID-19 vaccinations for their employees. They did that in August, and since then they've been able to achieve a 99.7% vaccination rate. So they've pretty much stayed clear of all of this unrest that we're seeing from the employees of Southwest and American Airlines. So that's really their specific edge that they're bringing right now. We're seeing a general increase across all of the airlines, though.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, Kevin, I know you got a question for Harrison. Go ahead.
Yeah, Harrison, when Delta came out with their earnings last week, it was mostly a glowing, positive response. And your data shows a lot of positivity on Delta. But then CEO Ed Bastian went to fuel costs, and fuel costs are going to take them from profitable next quarter to not profitable. And as you know, one of the big bets that United Airlines is making for the future are international flights. They think that 2022 is going to be a record for international flights. But the number one expense in international flights is, you guessed it, fuel. And so that's going to cause problems for them. But it appears to John Q. Public, me, that United has navigated this landmine-filled path through the coronavirus. And they've done a pretty good job, better than Southwest, just as good as Delta, much, much better than American. And so they're coming out of this on the other side, but still, fuel costs are going to come up in this earnings call. What are you seeing in terms of, United Airlines growth, which they're making a lot of bets on Amman, Jordan, Portugal, Norway, and 2 different flights to Spain. So they're making a big international bet. And Bastian did say good things about business travel. So they need both of those. Are you seeing any jump in any of those metrics?
So business travel, yes, very much. In fact, that is the leading travel-related consumer behavior that we're tracking right now. It's up over 50% from the prior year. But we're actually seeing pretty stagnant international travel mentions, those have not recovered whatsoever. So that could be a potentially negative indicator for United coming up here. And yeah, we also can't really account for United's push that they've had recently into cargo. Their cargo side of their business has been massively expanded over the past year. And they actually have the largest air freight business out of any of the passenger airlines. So that's sort of a part of their revenue that we can't really account for. But in terms of fuel costs, I think that's another thing that could potentially weigh heavily on them. Pardon the pun. It's a major question mark right now that that could really influence the way the street reacts to this coming call.
Yeah, and Harrison, if you take a look at the first chart that you had was purchase intent, right? And I think that's what I was kind of focused on as far as we've seen a little drawdown here in United stock, but at the same time, purchase intent starting to pick up a little bit. Do you expect, or does your data reflect that that's going to continue to ramp higher, maybe overtaking the stock price here? Over the next, maybe 2 or 3 months heading into the holiday season?
Well, we'll definitely be watching it very closely as the holidays approach, in tandem with that traveling for leisure trend, which is definitely not yet showing the same increase as the traveling for business. So those two trends will really be the leading indicators for United and all of the airlines' performance in these coming months. Obviously, you can see it's starting to level off there a bit, but in the past, that has continued to rise through the end of January. So hopefully we will see that continue to normalize, but if it starts to pull back and we're not seeing that same return to leisure travel that we've seen for business, then we might have to adopt a more bearish outlook on the Q4 earnings.
All right, Harrison, good rundown there of the data that you guys have on United and the other airlines here. I just want them to open up Australia. That's all I want, Harrison. Make it happen. All right, appreciate it. Harrison Sweeney, a research analyst at LikeFolio, giving us the data on United. Have a great day, Harrison.